Welcome, everybody, back to the Candy Radio Show. I am Candy Girl. We also have in the studio today my co-hostesses, and you are?
Hey, you got DJ Silver Fox. We're here again another week. We're hoping that we can be a blessing to you in some way.
Hey everybody, it's your Fly Girl TW, also in the house, excited for another week of the Candy Radio Show.
We want to tell you guys, we want to give thanks to IndieGrow.com, where businesses go to grow. We also want our listeners to please continue to log on to www.indiegrow.com. Post your comments. We know a lot of you guys out there have listened to this show, but you haven't posted your comments, so we would love to hear from you. Then you can also go to www.candyproductions.biz, and you can also post comments there too. And if you have any other advertising or any questions or suggestions on some topics, you can hit us up at theCandyShow@candyproductions.biz, and we will be sure to mention some of your comments on the air. You don't have to put your real name. You can put anonymous name. That's up to you. Whatever. We want to hear your comments. No comments are right or wrong. Right now, we're going to turn it over to Miss DJ Silver Fox.
Hey everybody, again, coming to you from the www.candyproductions.biz. And we just want to let you know, Candy Productions is more than a radio talk show. We are an event and planning and coordinating company, and we can help you plan a variety of events, including fashion shows, weddings, baby showers, bridal showers, and any community event that you would like to have.
Bachelor parties too, we do them too.
Hey. We also have a model and an entertainment division of Candy Marketing Productions. Hey, a little tongue-tied here. The weather changed on us. It's chilly in Indy. So, always, again, just log on to www.myspace.com/candyproductions.biz. We want to hear from you, and I'm going to turn it over to your girl, Fly Girl TW.
Hey, it's Fly Girl TW, as DJ Silver Fox mentioned. Thanks, DJ Silver Fox. I want to make sure that I thank our last week's guest, Mr. Chris Means, who gave us some insight on the housing market, and also Mr. Campbell, our financial expert, who gave us quite a bit of insight on the economy and what's going on with our show last week, the state or the current state of our economy. I also want to mention that the week before we didn't get a chance to read some of our previous comments on our The Men Tell All show, so I'm going to get right into that right now, and then I'm going to read some comments on the current state of the economy. So ladies, I'm going to start with The Men Tell All. It's a hot show. Do y'all agree with me?
It was hot.
Yeah. The men put it down. They definitely did. The first comment that I have is from Vanessa. She's from Indy. And she says, I love these brothers. They speak from the true side of things. All of the subjects are on target, especially doing it on the first date. Oh, that's right. They did talk about that, didn't they? I'm ashamed to say, but I let a guy do it on the first date, and I regretted it because the next night he met my sister at the same club and did her too. Okay. Now we have a rep at that club as Easy Sisters. That's why we don't go there anymore.
Well,
ladies, keep your legs shut till you get to know a brother. And men, why don't y'all stop with the games already? It really hurts. No, stop with the leg action. Okay, so that's from Vanessa.
Sorry, Vanessa, just got to hand it down to you like it is.
We all have our opinions.
I wonder if her sister knew that she kicked it with the dude the next night, or the day before.
Okay.
All I can say is ew.
Okay.
I hope you did like the brothers suggested, wrapped it up.
What was that? Who was that? Young
Cuz.
Young Cuz. Just wrap it up, everybody. All right, the next one is from a faithful listener, Miss Jones from the ATL. She says, I love the fact that men give such honest opinions about us women. However, we women don't always give honest ones of the men. Perhaps that's why women have high competition rate among us for each guy. Good job, men. When is the next show? I would love to get your opinions on who makes better single parents, men or women, and why. kind of brings us to this week's topic, but I don't want to jump the gun. I want to get to our next show, which again was last week, and it was the current state of the economy. And we have Elijah the Magnificent, who wrote in a comment, and he says, "Yo, I think the show was cool. I think people tend to mentally tune out when we talk about economics, but they should be paying more attention. Some of the advice was really good. Brothers held it down again. LOL, or laugh out loud. But I think the topic of economics needs to be discussed and listened to more within our community." Elijah rated us a 4, and I want to jump back because we got a 4 from Vanessa and we got a 4+ from Miss Jones from the ATL.
All right, cool.
Appreciate
cool.
that.
So far,
Appreciate
what do you ladies think about those last 2 comments that I read?
Well, for me, with the economics topic, I do believe that it needs to be discussed. Although it's being discussed on TV, radio, and every time you turn it on, you see it. But then you also have to hit the areas where somebody's really going to listen, because somebody might not have a TV, might not be a person that watches TV, or might not be a person that listens to the radio. So pretty much this particular situation is affecting everyone. So I just think that, wherever we can go to continue to keep educating the people about what's going on, so be it. Let it be.
Well, I was listening to a comment last night from MSNBC, and what one of the congressmen said was, why didn't someone break it down in simple language? And this is what we were really trying to do. Hey, we were really trying to educate us to break it down to simple language, because today I've heard of 2 occasions where one of the largest trucking companies, they were offering early buyouts. And then I also heard of another company struggling to make payroll. Hey, this economic crisis is going to hit us in the face sooner or later. It's not all about your bank account, but
Right.
it's going to be about your livelihood. So whatever you think, whatever your opinions are, just take some time to listen to what's happening, because it will be on your front door real soon.
Absolutely, which brings me to my final comment from last week. And actually, ladies, we have a new state to add to our listeners, and this is from Jackson, Mississippi. Mr. Bo Thomas says, "All of this mess will be fixed when Barack Obama takes office in January 2009. So, basically, he's saying, go vote.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Go
He
vote.
must be someone who's going to vote. Let's hope that he does.
And if it's dumped in Barack Obama's lap, it's not going to be an easy day for him, because he's going to be faced with fixing it. And it took over 8 years to bring us to this point. So let's pray, brothers and sisters, that Mr. Obama does get in, but then we will also have to stay on our knees that he will accomplish
That's right.
the things that he has already, that he wants to accomplish as the President of the United States.
That's right. And with that being said, DJ Silver Fox and Candy, a.k.a. Candy Girl, we're going to take our first commercial break. And actually, I think we should enjoy the tunes of Money, Money, Money by the OJs.
That was the jam. I still
And
listen to it now.
when we come back, we're going to introduce our special in-studio guest and get to this week's topic. So come right back after this quick break.
Welcome back, everyone. I love that song. Money, 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 money.
Like you know, we have always said that it's not Candy's
Yeah.
daytime job, okay? We really want her to keep her daytime job.
All right, and I'm trying to, trust me. All right, welcome back, everyone, listeners, callers. I know you guys got something you want to tell us today and speak your mind, but we want to make sure we get our in-studio guest in here, and we're going to go right on into our new subject, our new topic, and the new topic is raising our sons. And I'm pretty sure if you're a regular listener, you know each one of us in here have sons and we have raised them or we are still raising them. So we definitely have a lot of feedback. We also have an expert in here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over. We're going to introduce Mr. Damon, the voice means, and he's going to get down with us. Everybody ready? What we got going on? What we got going on? What's the question we want to pose? Why is raising sons such a big issue today? Why? Just why? Why? What do we have a problem with?
I want to comment. We're losing our sons on a daily basis to the streets. We're losing them. They're not graduating from schools, from their school. They're taking the some of the remedial type classes. You know, we're losing them inside the school. But one of the main things, are we losing them at home before they leave home? So, you know, we want to hit this subject, and also this is just single parenting. So, you know, we want everyone to chime in, but basically we are talking about our sons because they are our future brothers that are going to be helping run this country someday. So we want to talk about it, see what we can do as far as problem solving, some solutions, and some suggestions. So we've got a pretty good show planned here. So we want you to be able to come on with us. I want to just, before we ask Damon the voice to come in here, I just want to just spit out just a couple things here. Can black women raise black boys to be men? And, you know, this question comes up all the time. And I did some research. Dr. Jawanza Kanjufu, who has a PhD, he's revealed so much about this, and he's written so many books. One book in particular that I'm not dating anybody in here, but it was sometimes in the late 70s, he wrote The Conspiracy Against Black Boys. And it was very instrumental because he talked about it from all, you know, all sides of it. And mothers raise their daughters and they love their sons. And, you know, we've all been in that, at some point we've heard people saying, you know, my mom is so strict on me as a girl, but when it comes to my brothers, they get to do anything they want to do.
Okay, I
Yeah,
want
I've
to
heard
interject
that.
on that because
I've heard that.
I have noticed that because, you know, I have a younger brother, and I've noticed that both me and my sister, basically what you said, there is a difference, because I never thought there was a difference until either my brother got older or until I actually seen it myself. There is a difference in raising boys and there's a difference in raising girls. because we want the girls to get out there and be responsible, take care of their own, get the dishes done, do whatever it is. But at the same time, we also want our boys to do the same thing, but we baby them. Anybody got a comment on that one?
Well, you know what? I don't know the difference because I was a single child, or raised as a single child. I do have two brothers from my father, but I was raised by my mother. So I was raised as a single child, and my son, who is 20, is a single child. I raised him on my own. So I don't know the difference. I don't know how to raise a girl differently than raise a boy. I just know how to raise a boy who is now a young man who I'm very, very proud of. And so I don't know the difference. I have heard that, however, that parents do raise their girls, but they love their sons. But I want to ask this question. At the end of the day, are all of them productive individuals?
Well, let me just say this one statement that Dr. Kunjufu said. He said that he believes daughters are encouraged to attend college, while sons are poorly educated and remain home with their mothers. Boys don't attend college at the same level as females for myriad reasons. The primary reason is the school system and the disproportionate number of boys placed in special education, remedial reading, suspended, and dropouts.
Right.
So he did suggest that sometimes these are the reasons. What do you have to say on that, Damond?
I think that there is a difference in regards to how women raise boys and men, because there's a natural instinct that says that a man is supposed to provide a sense of security for a woman. So with that being said, most women raise their boys to be a little bit harder, a little tougher, a little meaner, a little bit left off on their own so that they can be providers. They can step into a role one day as a man that they'll be able to protect themselves as well as, whoever it is they are engaged with, whether it be their family or their wife or their children. Women, in a sense, raise little girls to be women which are thought to be more shy and demure and passionate and people that are just of a more kind nature. So with that being said, we understand that women sometimes allow boys to do some things on their own so that they can create a sense of self, because they have to grow up and be able to fend for self. Women are, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Women are taught to look for a husband, and look for someone they can confide in. And men are not so much as taught to look for a woman. They're looked to, taught to be, to provide for a woman.
All right.
Damond, now let me ask you a question. This is Fly Girl TW. And then, of course, we have a caller on the line listening, so we want to go ahead and get her on board also with this conversation. You said that women or little girls are raised to be demure and all of that. Do you still think that today that is the case? Because I find that young ladies, young women, they're hard. Even little girls, they're hard. I mean, they're acting like boys now. There's nothing demure or sweet or innocent about them anymore. And I'm wondering if you still feel that way. Do you think that because mothers are younger, because mothers are not mothering anymore, that the girls are harder? I mean, I just tend to see little girls cursing and not, just acting like boys. So I don't see so much of that demure demeanor anymore in girls.
Well, you're absolutely right. They are losing a lot of that presence, because some of the mothers that are raising them, they don't have that presence. They don't have that presence of being a respectful lady. So it's hard for that lady to raise a girl to be a lady and to be shy and to be respectful and to be reserved. Right. I think that it just all falls back on what the Bible says. And the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart. So a lot of it takes place, not even being particular to boys or girls. A lot of it is just a result of not training these children on how they should act, how they should behave, and what guidelines they should follow as humans.
Right.
Okay.
You're
Well,
so right. And, I was in Village Pantry or one of those stores last week, and I was so totally embarrassed. There was a young woman that came in there, probably in her early 20s, and she was, speaking on her cell phone so loud, and she was going, that nigga, so-and-so, and that
I hate
MF,
that.
his MF,
right.
ass needs to come up out of here. He's always, that nigga's always, and I'm
Right.
like,
You
every
didn't want to
other
be
word,
embarrassed for her.
I was, I really wanted to go tap her on the shoulder and say, that is so disrespectful. It's disrespectful for the store that you're in. It's disrespectful for everybody that's in here. Everybody does not speak that language that you're speaking in public. And there was about 4 whites to us 2 blacks that were in there, and every other word was that nigga. So and we hear it in the grocery stores, we hear it everywhere. So you're exactly right. Young ladies are not being raised up to be respectful because they are mirroring their mothers that are raising them, and they hear that language not only at home, but it's all in the street. And I have some teacher friends that, on a daily basis, they hear this same type of language in the schools. So, and they said it's worst among the
Right.
ladies. But again, we're getting back to the young men.
That's right.
So we
want
want
to,
take a comment from the caller that we have.
Caller, why don't you go ahead and state your name and the city you're calling from? And we really appreciate your patience, and hopefully you've been listening to the comments that have been made already.
Hi, my name's Heidi. I'm calling from Noblesville.
Hi,
Hi,
Heidi.
Noblesville, where?
Indiana?
Yes.
All
Okay,
right.
because we got listeners all across the United States, so we want to make sure that we definitely give a shout out to what state you calling from.
Now, Heidi, we've been talking, of course, about raising our sons, but, you can't really talk about raising our sons unless you talk about parenting in general. I'm not sure what your situation is, whether you have children or not, but if you do, can you chime in and let us know what you feel about how children, boys especially, are being raised today, some things that you may have noticed?
I actually have 3 children of my own. I have 2 girls and 1 son. And just this year, within the last month, I got custody of my nephew. My sister had passed away last year.
Oh.
So I'm a single parent. I have my hands full,
I'm
and
sure.
it's a challenge every day. It's totally different raising a girl from raising, my son or my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Their personalities are totally different, and I agree that kids learn from watching people's actions, and, it does depend on who they're raised around. The people that they hang around has a big influence on it. Their personalities are from night and day, so my son, of course, I have a closer relationship with him. He's more mommy-oriented than, my girls are more, into their dad right now. But it's really just a totally different situation, just depending on, they each, like I said, have individual personalities.
So do you agree with that the fact that you're loving your son, or do you believe you're loving and raising your son and your nephew, of course?
I do, yes.
So, Heidi, this is Candy. I have a quick question. So, I'm sure you heard us talking about the boys. The boys is very, right now, it's a state of emergency with the young men. Not to say that the women, the girls are not the same, but it's a state of emergency about how can we get these young men to be more active, more wanting to live other than just pass an X amount of, up to 16 or wanting to get that fast money. What do you feel about that? How do you think we can actually try to change the situation around?
Personally, I think that the problem is boys want to fit in so much and be with the in crowd, and so they want to do what everybody else is doing. The way I raise my son and my nephew, I try to keep them involved in all kinds of activities. My son plays football. He's in Taekwondo. My nephew does basketball. So they don't have all that extra time to be running the streets or hanging out with their friends or having all those bad influences around them. So I think keeping them involved in any kind of, church activities or any after-school programs is always good to help the kids stay away from all the trouble and stay out of the streets.
Heidi, let me ask you a question. This is Fly Girl TW. You mentioned that your son is more like a mommy, into mommy right now. How old is he?
My son just turned 10.
Okay. I asked you that because I have a 20-year-old who, and these ladies know, we could be walking down the street or in the store. He's hugging and laying all up on me. He is definitely a mama's boy. He's not ashamed of it, but he's also a man. You know what I mean? He's also not wimpy or anything like that. He's very respectful. Have you found that while raising him for these 10 years that, how some people say you have to be harder on your boys, you can't, boys are not supposed to show love or emotion or anything like that. How have you raised your son, because that's what you're doing now, to be a loving and caring person? Because some young men at 10 years old are not close to their moms because their moms are younger and they may not be mothers who believe that that's even something boys are supposed to do. You're supposed to be hard, not show emotion. And Damon, I want you to jump in on this too, coming from a male perspective. Anybody?
Me personally, I'm very affectionate with my kids. My son, I constantly tell him I love him, kissing, hugging all the time. But I also teach him, since he has sisters, that he should be the one, one day you need to look out for your sisters. And, I'm on him about being affectionate, but at the same time, I see your point. I have to be, don't be a crybaby about that. Just pick yourself up and, it's totally different. If my girls fall down and get hurt, sometimes they're babied a little bit more than my son because he's supposed to be tougher. So
right, Damon.
There's a saying that I've heard before that I like it, and it really does apply to life. And that saying says that you have to see a man to be a man. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard for women to raise boys into being solid men when they haven't seen a solid man in their lives. So a lot of times these boys will attract to other boys at school or either programs that they may be a part of, hoping to identify with the male figure. And so even in doing so, if they're not influenced by positive men, then they grow up and that's where we begin to lose them at, not having them in the presence of good men. We have there's a problem in this city, without a doubt. We have a lot of men here, positive men, that are doing some things. They found a way to overcome some obstacles and make it through some hard times, and they don't share those experiences with others. They leave and they don't give back to the boys and to the community. Right. So, it's a problem not just with the initial man that leaves, that chooses to neglect his child and leave the mother raising a boy by herself. Then, there's a second problem with the men that recognize it and have the capabilities and abilities to teach these young men, and they do nothing themselves at all.
Okay.
That's a very interesting point. And I want to and you guys hit that point. I'm not sure, Heidi, do you want to stay on? Are you ready to go?
Oh, I can stay on. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, actually, Heidi, we do have some
more callers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But definitely continue to log on to www.indiegrow.com to continue to listen to the show. And you also continue to tell your people, get on there. We got some hot topics. So we thank you for
thank you so much,
holding
Heidi.
on very patiently, and you have a good day.
You.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye. Go ahead, DJ. What were you saying?
Dr. Kunjufu said some of the things that Damon just said. He says that it's very important that African American mothers expose their sons to positive male role models and mentors. And he said such programs like the Boy Scout, athletics, mentoring programs, and rite passage are ideal ways to gain positive male influence. He also said that one of the things that black mothers have to do right now is just nip it in the bud. Black males are going to have peer pressure, just as Damon just said, but the rap music and the television, these are, large influence areas, and we need to just rip them right out, cut them out of their lives. The gangster, they want to dress like a gangster, make them dress to impress. Not, it doesn't mean that they've got to wear a shirt and a tie, but certainly they don't have to wear their pants hanging down to their knees. He also said that mothers should listen and discuss the content of videos, some of the programs. He said, just like you make your daughters go to church, your sons should be right there in church, also learning certain principles. He said children should also be reared in God. They should have a personal relationship with Jesus. And when asked to speak to the struggle and the continuous decline of the black male in the family, the educators take back, they go back to the early 1900s. Men were present in the house in the early 1900s. They were there. It began to decline just like marriages began to decline in the 70s and in the 1970s. So when you have certain declines in the home and certain declines in the way that we handle ourselves and our moral, values, then it is definitely going to affect not only the girls, but it's going to mainly affect the boys, because they are told they're going to be the men of the house. No, they are not the men of the house.
They're the sons.
They're the sons,
They're not the men
and
of the
they
house.
need to know that, but they need to know how to be young men, and mothers should not use their sons as a crutch. And I know that Damon spoke on that. They are not your lover. They are not your replacement man in the house. So, you've got to do something different here. So we're going to go for a commercial break because we've got some more callers on the line, and I know Damon the voice has something else to say.
Right now, when you switch to Rite Aid, you won't just get your prescription filled. You'll also get a gift card filled with $30. And you could even get your gas tank filled for free. For every prescription you transfer to Rite Aid with a coupon, you'll get an entry into our weekly drawing for a year's worth of free gas, a $2,600 value. Keep your prescription with us, and you'll be re-entered into the drawing each week. Switch to Rite Aid and fill up on all the rewards we have to offer. See circular for coupon and pharmacist for details. Not valid in New York or New Jersey.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Candy Radio Show. I am Candy Girl, a.k.a. Candy. And we have
Fly Girl TW, of course, in the house, our special guest, Damon the Voice Means. Hopefully he's going to have some additional information and comments for us on this subject of raising our sons. And Miss DJ Silver Fox, what you got to say?
Well, when we left off, we were talking about what it takes for, to try and get our young men back, and so that they are functioning in our society on a higher level. So we want to continue the conversation going that way, and we want to talk about raising boys wrong and what can we do.
Right. You know what, DJ Silver Fox, you and Damon actually brought up a couple of things, points that I wanted to go over. Primarily, we can blame the media, the TV, the videos, the rap music, and I'm not saying they are not a symptom, but I don't believe that they're a cause, because we raising our children are supposed to start in the home. Okay? It starts with love and discipline, and as a single parent, maybe I could have raised Devin differently, being, a two-parent family. I was married. However, I was still a single parent, unfortunately. So I don't know how it would have been had I had a loving, caring father, or he had a loving, caring father or husband in the home to help him be better than he is today, which, again, I have a fantastic son, and I'm very proud of him, and I can't say that enough. And he knows that. We, like Heidi said, I tell him I love him all the time. He tells me, I love you, Mommy. Good night, Mommy. He does that. And that is respect. I can't go any place where someone's not telling me how respectful he is. So I do know that I did a good job raising him. So I know, coming from being raised by a single parent, it starts in the home. And while you can't say that those things don't affect how you raise your children, especially your sons, as a parent, whether you are, mom and dad in the home or a single parent, you have to take responsibility for how you raise your children, especially your sons in this day and age, because he could be walking down the street not doing anything, dressed perfectly fine, and be pulled over by the police. They have all these negatives at them without even looking or doing anything wrong. So it's important that we instill in them, self-esteem, respect, even for authority, when they may not have any respect for us.
Flagger, I would have to differ, be different with you.
Okay.
Right there for one reason. You're right, it is a responsibility to raise your kids and train your kids up at home, but what they are exposed to definitely has an effect on who they will become. So
Absolutely.
yes, the being exposed to negative music, negative video games, negative movies, all those things can play a huge factor in who you become. I was raised by my mother. My father was not present in the home, and I was raised. We was raised in the church, knowing the Bible very well and understanding the relationship we should have with God. Mm-hmm. But as I became a teenager and I began to slip off and sneak away and listen to music that my mother did not approve of me listening to, that music exposed me to and influenced me to do some things that I had never thought about doing. It gave me an appetite for something that was not nurtured at home. So that can, be an effect, and the Word of God supports that, because the Bible tells us to guard our eyes and our ears and our minds. Those are all portals to let things into your atmosphere and affect who you are and who you become.
I agree with you, and I want to say this. I don't disagree with anything you just said, but what I find talking to other women is they want to solely blame all these other things on why their children are the way they are. Right. And it's like what DJ Silver Fox said earlier. It's important for parents to look at these TV shows with them. I used to, when my son would say, well, I like such and such, or I like so-and-so. This is when he was younger. Now he's 20, I still give him my peace of mind, but I don't dictate what he does when he was younger. So if he said, I like such and such as a rapper, I want to watch this show, I would sit down and watch it with him. Why do you like that? Did you just hear what he said about her? I would do those things. So it's important to sit down with your children and listen to the music. It's like you said that the doctor indicated, DJ Silver Fox. It's important for us to do that as parents, because sometimes that also opens up a whole nother dialogue with them. That's a situation that they may never forget. This is a time where I sat down with my mom or my dad and we talked about X, Y, and Z. Now I have a different perspective on it that I didn't have before we sat down and listened to the music or watched the video or watched that TV show. But Damon, I do agree with you, but I'm talking about the parents who think, oh, I'm great, I'm perfect, I have no responsibility in my son or my daughter being this way. It's the media, it's right. The TV, it's the teachers who aren't teaching them. It's everybody but me, and that's what I have a problem with.
Well, I've often shared that I do mentor children, and one of the classes that I do have young men. But during this class, and it is in a Christian atmosphere, I played some rap music, and we wrote the words down on the board. And I, actually said, do you really understand what these are saying? Would you call your mother this? Would you say these things to your mother? So I think we do as parents have responsibility to sit down there and, censor what they hear, but we also need to let them hear it with us so that we can talk about it. Because one thing, if you don't teach them at home, the streets will teach them a far uglier story. But once you have taught them at home and you have taken the time to listen to the things with them and bring this out, what's being said, how disrespectful it is, or how meaningless it is. So what do you have to say about that, Damon?
The things you said were absolutely correct, that you do have to expose your children to those things first, so that when they do hear it or it's brought to them by some other means, they're not just totally shocked or in awe about what this is and impressed by it. It takes, you have to have a relationship with your child, the same relationship you have with your child. It should be the relationship that you have with God. A lot of times as parents, we get away from that loving and caring attitude that we should have towards our children, because we fall into I'm a grown up and you're a child. I brought you into this world, not take you out. We get brought up into some of these tendencies that pits mothers against, you know what I'm saying, sons or daughters.
Right.
What about the generational curse that some mothers do bring down? Their mother and fathers talk to them any kind of way or were harsh, and then they bring these same ideals into their relationship and raising their children.
I understand generational curses, but I believe that even without going to a church and speaking to a minister and having somebody to speak and preach and pray over you to have you delivered from it, you can stop it. Whenever you see something in your life that has affected you and you don't like it and it's hurt you, that, you know what I'm saying, there's something inside that should tell you, I would never do this to anybody else because I don't want them to feel that way.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
And that's a biggie, Damon, because you're right. We absolutely have a choice. If we didn't receive a lot of hands-on or love in our homes, I made that choice. My father was an alcoholic. I could have been an alcoholic if I wanted to.
Me too.
And he didn't show love. But then I had a mother that was very loving. So then, there were certain things that I absolutely said that I would not bring into the relationship of being a parent, and that I would be loving and teach them how to love and not be afraid. A mother of sons, I was not afraid to hug them or to tell them it was okay to cry about it, but cry and get over it. Let's go,
Right.
And that's what it takes. It takes a balance. A lot of times we're afraid to tell our boys to be hard and be tough, but it's also okay to be sensitive and to cry. Right. We just try to rear them on the end to where they're just all hard and tough and have this outer shell that they're hard to receive things from other people, and they don't know how to cry, and sometimes they express their emotions doing things that they have no business doing.
Right.
It takes a balance. I have 3 boys and 2 girls. I raise my boys to be shy and respectful and to be quiet when it's not a time to speak. I also raise them to be tough and understand that they don't have to fear anything because, you know what I'm saying, of the God that they serve. I raise my girls the same way. I raise them to understand that you may have to take a stand for yourself and defend yourself, and there's no need for you to fear anybody because you are a child of God. And I also raise them to be quiet and discreet and to understand there's a time to be quiet and there's a time to speak. So you have to have that balance in both. A lot of times women, this is something happens more so with women, because a woman is not a man. They have to be a little firmer and harder to kind of play that role of being a man. That's like anytime if a woman was to call somebody and play on the phone and try to act like a man, she try to make her voice sound deeper. She may even act a different way. She may even walk a different way. You do things differently as a woman when you're emulating a man, and that transpires and carries over into a woman raising a boy.
You guys got some very good comments, but we've got to get another caller on the line, okay? Let's go ahead and get this caller on the line.
Caller, can you state your name and the city you're calling from, please?
This is Tiffany. I'm calling from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hey, Tiffany.
From the west side. Hi,
Thanks
everybody.
for joining us. Hi. Now, we're talking about raising our young sons and to become successful, healthy young men, and our in-studio guest, Damon the Voice, was making some comments right before we brought you on. So we want to go ahead and let him continue a little bit, and then we want to hear your comments. As we know, you are familiar with Candy Productions. You're a member of our family, so we know you have a young son there. We want to get your comments on how you're raising him or what your concerns are as a parent. So, Damon?
Let me pose a question for you. The comments I made before we brought you in were, I was making comments about there has to be a balance of a boy, of raising him to be hard and tough, as well as being shy and demure and sensitive at the same time. What type of things have you experienced with doing that within your raising your own son?
Well, I really haven't. Well, my son's only 1, so at times he gets to the point where he wanted to be a crybaby, where he want to be just baby-fied. Like I tell him, you got to understand, or, I try to drill in his head that Mommy don't want you to be no little sissy. And I can't stress enough to my son that you will be a man. You're going to be a man. I can only teach my son how to respect women and, you know, bring him up to what I think is right. But I don't know. I just try to, you know, sit with him, even though he's only one. I still try to sit with him, let him know and understand that, you know, you're going to be somebody in life. You're not going to be, you know, a little 65, little boy. You're going to be a man. So I'm going to try to do the best that I can as raising him to be a man.
Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you another question. When do you have a daughter?
Yes, I have a 5-year-old daughter.
Okay, let me ask you. This is a deep question. Don't take it personal, but it is a deep question. When your daughter was one and she cried, would you consider her or refer to her as being a crybaby or sissified?
No, not really. But at a certain extent, when they just keep crying for no reason, yes, they are considered a crybaby.
I know Demond's getting ready to jump on this, but at 1 year, we're really the nurturers at that point. And children, they learn different tones from us, but to cry as a 1-year-old. And you don't want to pick up that habit of demeaning or putting them down. Never call your boy a sissy. Never call your boy a sissy.
Never do that. Never do that.
But it's okay for him to cry because he needs to develop that sense in him. At a point in a time, there'll come a time when you will, you know, at some point have to talk to him about different things. But I'm going to let Demond handle this. He's the man in the house tonight.
That's a very interesting point that you made, that, and it's not just you alone, it's something that mothers do, that if their daughter does something and it's showing emotion, then it's okay. But if a boy does it, then it's not okay for him to show the same emotion at the same age over the same things. And that's a problem that we as society have accepted as a part of raising a boy to be a man. Right. Showing a lack of sensitivity does not make a boy become a man.
That's right.
It actually can hinder their growth, because when you keep things bottled up, especially your emotions, they have to come out sooner or later, some point in time in life. You will vent in some, you know what I'm saying, some manner. And a lot of times for boys, when they're told to be quiet, not to cry, get up, you'll be okay, take it on the chin, they begin to hold those things in and suppress their emotions and feelings for a very long time. And then it may come out. And a lot of times when it comes out in the form of violence.
Right. They're punching the walls. They're punching people. You know, they're in trouble with the law.
Well, actually, it goes a little bit further than that.
Yeah.
Most of the times when you are oppressed by something or someone, that someone that you are oppressed by becomes the one that you want to get revenge with. So if a mother, you know what I'm saying, being a female, is telling a boy to suppress his emotions, what that's setting him up for to do is to take his frustrations and feelings out on a mother or a female. And at some point in time, that's what a lot of times leads to boys having vindictive attitudes towards women. Right. Not saying that I ever would support any man putting his hand on a woman, but it does set the stage for a boy to have ill feelings towards a female.
Tiffany, let me ask you a question. This is Fly Girl TW. When you knew that you were going to have a son, or when you gave birth to him, when did you feel like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so different? Or or did you think that? Did you feel like I have to raise him differently than I raised her? Did you find any new challenges? I know he's just one, but did you think initially, oh my goodness, what do I do? Now I have a son. I'm not really sure what direction I'm supposed to go in. Or did you just, take it day by day?
I really didn't. And I was excited when I, found out I was having a boy. Like I said, I really don't see the difference of raising them. Even though I do have a boy and a girl. Really, I just take it day by day. Okay. Because with my son, I've learned so much when it comes to little boy. Because the majority of my family is women and not a lot of men in my family. So having a little boy, it has taught me a lot of things. Even though he's one, I've learned so much about a little boy because it's different raising a girl. It's not really so much different, but I don't know. I've learned a whole lot with my son.
Okay.
And
Candy had a comment or a question.
Go ahead, Candy.
No, what I was going to ask, and you kind of allude to that, because I was going to ask you, did you have any brothers or sisters? And since how your son is only one, and right now you just really getting the feel of learning how to raise a boy, do you have any brothers and sisters that you can compare a situation to and find out, yes, okay, yeah, maybe my mom or my dad raised us differently? Because, see, that's where, for me, that's where I found out that there is a difference. As my younger brother got older, there is a difference when your parents are raising a girl versus a boy. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister.
Okay, did you find a difference in either one? Did you find out the one your brother was raised differently and or got less or more privileges than you guys did? Tell me on that.
No, my mom, she raised us equally. Didn't matter whether she was a boy or not, but as we got older, then that's when things started changing. And I'm pretty sure, a lot of people with two kids, with a boy and a girl, as they're small, it's not a difference. But as they get older, then yeah, there'll be a difference between the boy and what a boy can do and what a girl can do.
All right, Tiffany, great. Thank you very much. Continue to log on to www.indiegrow.com. Tell your friends and your family to get on. This is one of the hot topics. I know we have not taken this topic the way we want to, so we just might have to do a part 2. But thank you very much. And, again, continue to log on and listen. Thank you.
Bye, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, any comments, anyone, on what Tiffany had to say?
I think she's just going to she's going to know as her son gets older that there is a difference. Like she did say, she noticed as her and her brothers and sisters were getting older, it's going to be a difference when she raised her son. But also at the same time, I heard you guys was chiming in on this, that, and the other. However, you got to also think about the parent who's trying to do their best and whatever they're trying to do to raise their child, especially if it is a boy, because you all know I have a son, single parent. If I feel I'm doing my best to raise my son by doing whatever it is that I feel in my heart is the best alternative ways to raise my son, or the best way for us, then what do we do? What avenues? Give it to us, to those who are out there feeling like they're raising their children to the best that they can. Single parent, especially when there's a boy in the household. What alternatives? What can we do when we felt that we've already done everything we could? And somebody give some advice to someone else who may be in my predicament.
Okay.
I can. Go ahead, DJ
Okay.
Silver Fox.
Yeah, I can get all over that.
Yeah, me too.
Where were you earlier?
Come on, guest. Go ahead. You hit that.
Just whenever I hear, especially Christians or believers mentioning doing their best and they want to know what they can do, there's always something you can do either before or after. It would be better before doing your best is do God's best.
That's exactly where I was going with it, my brother.
And raising your children, sometimes, yes, we do raise our best and we fail because our best is not as good as we think it is, no matter how much we put in it. And it is worth a lot. But when you do it God's best, according to the Word of God, according to the principles that He's given us on how we should raise our children, then when we do it according to what God says, we can really go to Him and seek help and directions. A lot of times we go to God asking for solutions on how to do things the right way, and we're not even doing it the right way.
Well, we're not even listening.
Well, I was going to hit it from that perspective as well, because I really believe that God's way is the only way. And He has the perfect training manual for even raising children. And first of all, about being one of His children. He loves us, and He wants us to love our children the same way He loves us. He loves us unconditionally, and He expresses that love each and every day. A lot of our listeners may not be Christians, but I'm going to tell you, if you go by the manual and you go by what God has provided for us. We can't go wrong with that because our ways are not God's ways.
Right.
And first of all, he says love is the biggest conqueror of all. Sometimes our children cannot even say, my parents love me. They actually think, my parents hate me. They
Right.
talk about me. They put me down. You know, they have feelings. And if we're not showing the love and compassion the same way that God gives it to us each and every day, because none of us are perfect and we all make mistakes. We're mean sometimes. We're hateful sometimes. And if we don't think that our children are a product of us, we better step back
Right.
and listen and look at them.
You know what, DJ? I can't say how many times I've had to apologize to Devin because, and I'll take this in a different perspective because I am a Christian. I believe in God, and I don't know how I would have been able to raise him to be who he is without him. However, I've done things that are wrong. I'm not a perfect parent, but I know enough. You know, it's kind of like my mother wasn't raised by great parents. It was a dysfunctional family. So when I became pregnant, I knew I had to do things differently. And it was a struggle because I was depressed and doing things I shouldn't have been doing. But it was never about me. It was always about him, meaning Devin, my son. So
I'm with you,
I
TW,
never
on that.
did think that I was doing my best because it wasn't about my best. It was really about what was best for him.
What
And
I
if
want you
that-
to do, though,
Go ahead.
I want you to hold that thought because we've got to go with a part 2. It's
Okay.
time for us to
I
sign
agree.
off here, and I want to give our in studio guests the last word and close us out.
For those that are not Christians out there, I know this is a day and age where a lot of people are fascinated with books. The Bible is a bestseller, so it would be a good book for anybody to pick up and read. A scripture that I always heard people mention in regards to raising kids, and they would always say, children, obey your mother and father so that your days on this earth may be long. And they would always quote that scripture that's found in Ephesians. But if you turn the page,
Yeah.
there's another scripture in Ephesians that says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. And so when you have a mother playing a role as a father, that means don't be so hard on your kids and beat them up to the point till you turn them to being vindictive towards you or life.
All right. That's a good word to end up on.
Thank you, The Voice.
We getting the voice back in. The voice got something to say. The voice. Can we hear
We
from
hope
you
that we
any
can
other
get you in
time?
on a part 2. I know your
That's right.
schedule is busy, but if you could just schedule us in, I think this is a very, very important topic, and we would like to do it as a part 2.
Absolutely.
I will do God's best.
All right.
All right.
That's all we can ask, right, ladies?
We're going to hand it over to Candy. I think she's taking us away tonight.
Well, first I want to make sure that the voice, if you got anything you need to let the listeners know, how to get in contact with you or anything.
As I know you do some consultations and you work with youth. You
It-
want to talk about, just tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
I'll save it for part 2 to make sure they come back.
Hey, all right.
All right.
All right. Well, everybody, that is the wrap for tonight. This is a burning one, everyone. Log on to www.indiegrow.com. Click Candy Productions. Please get your comments out there. Let us know where you're calling from. Rate us. Again, no opinion is right or wrong. If you got something to say about what we've said or any of our callers say, please let us know. For DJ Silver Fox
It's your lady, DJ Silver Fox, and I am signing out.
and Fly Girl TW.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Make sure you join us for part 2. It's a very important topic. Actually, we can't talk about it enough, but we are out for tonight. Thanks for joining us.
And the voice, and we out of here.
Radio on